Greetings everyone! I have returned, and this time, we delve into the realm of Mega Evolution. This gimmick arose in Gen 6, disappeared for a while, and then reappeared in ZA, and well, people like Mega Evolution, but also love to complain about it. So, yeah, this is the start of a series where, every Pokemon is getting a Mega. Also, this is how I'm finding out Chuck Norris died, because someone just sent that to me while I was doing this video. So, anyway, with that out of the way, Mega Maractus. So, with this Mega, I did have a few ideas. Now, obviously, Maractus has the base ability of Water Absorb, so grass water could definitely make sense. I mean, cactuses are known to withhold water, and of course, aloe vera is a cactus used to treat burns. So I could have gone grass water, but I didn't really feel like it. Instead, for Maractus, I decided to go a different route, because despite every Pokemon we've gotten over the years, we have never gotten a ground-type cactus, which I feel is just weird. Cactuses are synonymous with the desert, so it's kind of a bit surprising that we haven't gotten one yet. The two we have, Cacturne and Maractus, are Pure Grass and Grass Dark. So I felt like giving the ground type to Maractus was not really much of a stretch, and while of course, as I said, water would probably make more sense, I wanted to try and make these Pokemon viable, because a lot of the Pokemon I'm talking about in this video are either not viable or just completely out of the public light. And with Maractus, the way I felt to do this was to give it the ground type and the Sandstream ability, which means upon Mega Evolution, Maractus will set up a Sandstorm, which it can now take advantage of with its ground type and boost its defense and special defense. Speaking of which, let's talk about the stat changes. Every Mega Evolution gets a stat boost of 100, with certain exceptions, with Mega Starmie, which of course is going to have either pure power or huge power. They technically do get more stats than the others, but given that they're already kind of lackluster in the power department, that's reasonable. For Maractus, I did boost its speed a decent bit, because while cacti might not seem very agile, they can spread rather quickly, and in an environment like a sandstorm where it'll pick up seeds and throw it over the place, I mean, I feel you can justify just a bit of a speed boost, plus 60 to speed. Now, of course, to take advantage of the sandstorm better, defense and special defense are both getting an increase of 13. And naturally, cactuses have spikes, Maractus being no different, so attack getting a plus 14 boost is fairly reasonable. Now, I could swap the speed and the attack, but as I said, trying to make it viable, I feel like giving it speed to help take advantage of Sandstream quicker is probably a good move. And I do want to mention, I am keeping it to one custom ability per video, since sometimes Megas do have new, never-before-seen abilities. Aerialate and Glaciate, I think, being the best examples, because I think they're for Mega Pidgeot and Mega Glalie specifically. But more often than not, they do tend to be given to other Pokemon later on. But that being said, it's not really super common, so I'm limiting myself to one custom ability per video. And with Mega Maractus, it does kind of have a bit more of a cowboy vibe, even having like a little sand scarf to protect itself from said sandstorm it creates. And then the giant flowers to help it take advantage of its additional attack. Swinging around its head, it's obviously going to hurt, hence also the bigger arms. And with Maractus, that's really the best I can do to make it viable. As I said, grass water could have also worked, but grass water with water absorb is not great. Mega Ribombee. Ribombee always felt like one of those Mon that just really needed something. Really just anything. And with Ribombee specifically, I went the direction of just boosting its attributes, as well as giving it a bit of pixie dust, because it already leans into being a little sprite fairy thing, so why not take it further that direction? With some of the newer Megas in ZA, it's very clear they went with certain directions for some Megas. For Drampa, they took the cloud aspect and just kicked that up to 9 and made it an actual storm cloud. Now as for its stats, I'm gonna just keep it a glass cannon. Give it an extra 36 to speed and an extra 64 to special attack. It's fast, it hits hard specially, but that's all it does. And that's not terrible, that is very decent. But I hear you asking, what about priority moves like Accelerock? Very astute observation, but given its new pixie dust look, as well as the fact it does have a rather cool design, I decided to give it the Dazzling ability. By giving Mega Rabombi Dazzling, it now means that priority moves cannot be used against it, which helps make it a lot more viable. Now if you try to Prankster Spore, it's not gonna work. Try to Accelerock, it's not gonna work. You either have to have good special defense to take the hit, or be faster naturally, which Rabombi was already pretty fast, so good luck. And Rabombi is one of the mons that I feel does just do better as a Mega than it does a permanent evolution. Because giving it a permanent evolution doesn't really help it a whole lot. Sure, it's Bug Fairy, decent typing, decent stats, but it's gonna get widely outclassed by a lot of things, so reasonably people are not going to really try and evolve it when they have other options available. But with it being a temporary Mega, now with a ability that is also temporary but better than what it would normally get, it does become viable, leading to Mega Rabombi in a design I really like. But then, let's move on to a goofier one. Mega Shuckle? Yeah, I went ahead and made Mega Shuckle. I know what you're thinking. Yes, it is still Bug Rock, and yes, I added 20 to its defense, 20 to its special defense, so I'm pretty sure it's now just really unkillable. Aside from its HP, but like no Mega ever has any points put into HP. So to relegate this, I just gave it 30 to both its attack stats. Now it's not pitifully weak, it's not gonna do massive damage, but at least it can hit just a little bit harder. Is what I would say. You haven't heard the ability yet, and if you look at Shuckle, notice something about the shell? Don't those segments just remind you of something? Oh, you know, just a little fun ability that's super situational and super signature, but Mega Shuckle has shields down. Yeah, it now becomes a noodle. And because it lost its rocky shell, it is now Bug Water. Why Bug Water, you ask? Well, according to Shuckle's Dex entry, Shuckle is canonically juicy. I'm not making that up. According to Pokemon and the Pokedex, Shuckle has berries in its shell fermenting into juice. I never thought I would ever be able to say that a Pokemon is canonically juicy, but here we are. However, there's another thing about Shields Down. In Minior, going into Shields Down boosts its speed quite a lot. Though because we're making it a Mega in a temporary form, and it's gonna take a while to get to Shields Down anyway, when Shuckle goes into Shields Down mode, its defenses swap. Its physical defense goes to physical attack, and its special defense goes to its speed. So yeah, it's not gonna hit very hard, specially, but it is going to be a really fast, really hard-hitting Pokemon. It's gonna be really fast and hit really hard. Now, of course, priority moves are still gonna screw it up, but if your opponent doesn't have a priority move, well, let's just say they've learned why they should not play around with the juicy boy. But now, to end it off with my favorite of these new Megas, Mega Claydol. Now, I do want to preference that Claydol is one of the mons that I do feel like I really could give an evolution to. But I went with Mega here because, well, obviously I'm gonna do Megas for all the mons, I obviously have to start somewhere, but also Claydol's just cool. It's an underrated Gen 3 mon, which is really rare to find nowadays. Psychic Ground is a really decent typing, and well, it's decently bulky. So I feel like there's not a whole lot I have to do to actually make it good. Gave a bit of a boost to Claydol's speed, 35 to be specific, because well, it's floating and now it has extra psychic power, so reasonably it should be able to float quicker. As for that special attack, it's boosted by 30, just to let it hit a little harder. Special defense boosted by 10, because well, obviously, special attack boosts, special defense is going to go with it, because psychic. And then give it a bit of a boost to defense, because well, it's a bunch of moving targets, it's going to be difficult to hit. Still ground psychic, and while I could give it levitate, it's not really weak to ground, so that doesn't really help it at all. But remember when I said I have one custom ability token for each video? If I wanted to, I could save that new ability token and just use it for the next video, but I am going to use that token here to show you how it works. The way that these abilities work that I am creating is they cannot be too overpowered. I cannot give a Mon an ability that just completely makes it immune to every typing. And in a similar vein, I can't give it Prankster 2.0 that works on dark types. And I feel like I did a decent job with this ability, Tsukumogami, which is a Japanese idea that a household object that has spent at least 100 years within a house develops a spirit. And with Claydol being an artificial item made of clay, the ability I felt fit pretty well, especially since in its dex entry it's stated that it's made from a falling space object from like a couple million years ago. Claydol is old. It gives the user a stab boost to all ghost moves, basically taking the damage from normal to a 0.5 modifier. Ghost type moves are now stab, so it can hit ghost and psychic types, but it is still weak to ghost, so it's going to still get hurt. And considering Ghost is only super effective against itself and Psychic, I feel like that's just fine. It's not super overpowered, and Claydol still can get hurt by Ghost types. Really, if I remember correctly, I think it only gets Shadow Ball. It might get Nightshade, but either way, it only boosts really one type of move, one that Claydol doesn't exactly have a lot of, and it is very much an ability I could see being given to other Pokemon. For instance, Goldengo could very easily have this ability. It is a thing of coins and 1,000 coins, so you could easily translate it. Hisuian Electrode could of course have it because it's an old Electrode. Of course, other Mons like Bronzong could also get it because it's an old bell. It's an ability that I feel like does really work pretty well in just regular Pokemon, which is my point here. I don't want these signature abilities to be super overpowered, because that kind of defeats the point. So it's not going to be something like Glaciate where it changes the move's type and then boosts it by 5,000. Like, of course it's not 5,000 boost, but you get my point. So these custom ability tokens, I can either save and then use the next video if I don't feel like adding a new ability, or if I do create an ability, I have to make it so it's not exactly a super broken one. It has to be balanced, or else it kind of destroys the point of making these Mons viable. Well anyway, this is Jay, signing away forever and always. Bye-bye.